Welcome everybody to the State of CAHME. My name is Melissa Cross and I am the Director of Education with CAHME. We hope you're enjoying your summer and thank you for taking the time and spending it with us today. We hope that you truly find the session informative and worthwhile. The State of CAHME was previously known as the CAHME Update, and the annual tradition goes back to the founding in 1968. Traditionally, it was presented live during the AUPHA annual meeting through 2019. And then during the pandemic in 2020, this transitioned to a virtual session. So it enabled us to reach people globally across all programs in healthcare management, including AACSB, EMA, other universities, and organizations. This is the best way to reach the most number of people interested in the current state of CAHME. So we look forward to sharing with you today things that CAHME has been working on and new initiatives we are taking into the new fiscal year. If you have any questions, please use the chat feature. We will save all questions and comments, and we will address all of them at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce today Anthony Stanowski, the current President and CEO of CAHME, to begin our session today.
Well, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, everybody, for joining today, the State of CAHME. And I'm really excited because today you're going to get to hear from our board leadership about how we're working to best fulfill our mission, advance the quality of healthcare management education. CAHME is all about assessment, and it's about assessment for how our programs are doing assessment to create quality improvement, but it's also about assessment of how CAHME looks at itself and assess our policies and our procedures and our actions and our team to continue to provide great support to you. What you're going to hear about is research we conducted in 2021 that set us on a path, and how that research has evolved and how that research has resulted in some changes that occurred within the organization. But you're also going to hear about some research that was just recently completed where we had 398 responses. 398 responses. That was overall the largest number of people that have ever been surveyed in the field in healthcare management education to provide input on CAHME. That independent researcher also conducted 9 in-depth qualitative interviews with programs that are accredited, as well as programs that are no longer accredited. But where I want to start first is on the 2021 research, which we call Reimagining the Accreditation Process. So just as a reminder to folks, and I know some of you participate in this research was conducted by Jordan Johnson Incorporated. And Jordan Johnson was recommended to us when we went to the Baldrige Foundation and said, hey, we want to begin a process to improve our operations and the support that we're providing to our programs. And Baldrige recommended Jordan Johnson. We assembled is an independent blue ribbon task force, which consisted of some board members, some folks out in the field, some people who are on the Accreditation Council, and site visitors, a core group that kind of monitored and directed us as we went through. From there, we went to 63 stakeholders who provided input, detailed input over multiple meetings. And these were 43 program directors and 20 site visitors. We also conducted, again, this was back in 2021, a survey through this process of program directors of the areas where we need to improve. We conducted one-on-one sessions with selected site visitors and program directors, and we identified 60 issues, barriers, and challenges for programs. This process, this Baldrige process that we worked through, worked so well, and the process that we are still doing, that in 2024, on behalf of CAHME, we were recognized by the Baldrige Foundation for the Leadership Award in Education, and very proud of the team kind of receiving this award in this process. So let me kind of focus in on this pick chart for a second and zero in on it. What you'll see on the pick chart is areas where we've kind of focused on to make some improvements. And some of these we're going to cover today. Some of these are still in process. One of these, like that little blue sticky on the top left-hand corner, is talking about are changes around substantive change and what we're going to do around there. And those will be rolling out soon as well, too. But this pick chart has really guided us over the past 3 years as we're continuing to make our process improvement. Now, one of the areas where we went to improve is not just the technology, but also the CAHME team. And we've really kind of structured our team over the past couple of years to look at accreditation operations and then team or staff functions. So line and staff is really what we're looking at. And in the line area, you can see the resources and the team that we've put in together to help support you. And then for the team staff functions, you can see that there's areas in there that kind of help with communications or legal or just, overall management of the process. Now, if we go to the next slide, you'll see the faces that kind of correspond with this. And I know you recognize some of the faces, and all of them, I think, are on the call today. Eric Brichto is really in charge of the accreditation operations. So if you have questions about what needs to occur around the operations, Eric is the person, and he's there on the top left. And next to Eric is Melissa Sanseverino, who is in charge of our finance operations and is also kind of focusing on our site visitors and managing of them. Melissa Cross, as she introduced herself, is on education. And then as we go across the top right, Adrian, who works a lot with our board members and with our human resources part, and Dana Alexander, who kind of leads up the communications function within CAHME. Now, we have other folks under there, like Stacy Rowan, who I know all of you have got to, or some of you have got to know over time, who's really kind of worked on our process improvement and our strategies and around our technology function. Mike Meekum, Michelle Petruccelli on the far left, Tisha Menser down below, Amanda Grow. They've also kind of focused on how do we help support and provide additional resources for the folks who are going through accreditation. This is an incredible team that we've pulled together. And if you look at where we were in 2016, our team consisted of 3 people. So we went from that type of resources that were available to support you to this team that's here now. Now, the CAHME Insights research study that was conducted by Hunter Jocelyn was a fully independent research study that was funded by 2 board members, actually, Quint Studer, who funded most of the cost of the research, and Jeff Connor, a former executive from Aramark, who funded the other part. And it was independently managed by David Bartholomew of the American College of Healthcare Executives, who kind of provided oversight on that. 398 people were surveyed over 12 days. The confidence level on this research is 95%, with a plus or minus error of around 4%. 117 program directors were included as part of this research. So if you're a program director of CAHME, you were probably answered this research that went through. Look, in the entire history of CAHME, we have never, ever, never surveyed 398 people in the field. Now, from this, we found some key findings, and this full research project is available on our website. But if you look at the key findings of CAHME, what we see in here is, number one, identity and direction. How will CAHME continue to fulfill its mission of advancing the quality of healthcare management education? Adaptability and innovation. How will CAHME continue to innovate to ensure its success both today and in the future? And inclusive engagement. How will CAHME ensure the inclusion of all voices within the broader higher education community, including the voices from online programs? The overarching question for CAHME in all of this is, what constitutes quality, and how can CAHME grow at the rate that we've grown over the past 8 years while maintaining the quality of our programs? From this, 5 main themes have emerged. And what we're going to look at today are those 5 main themes. These are the areas that you feel are most important for CAHME. Now, we triangulated in this research these 5 themes with the Reimagining the Accreditation Process to kind of look at where we really need to kind of focus on this. We'll demonstrate to you our commitment in advancing the quality of healthcare management education both in the work we have done and in the work we're going to do over the next couple years. We're not done. We know that we need to make improvements. The 5 themes that we're looking at, first on the right side, credibility and reputation. And then as we kind of move across, accreditation standards, transparency of program outcomes, and continuous improvement. The presentations on these will be focused on from our 5 board members who are here with us today. Banky Olatosi will cover credibility and how CAHME works to ensure the credibility of our operations and the support we provide to you. Ron Holder will next go into reputation, why that's so important, and how we're working to broaden our reputation. Continuous improvement will be Lynn Downs, who is chairing our Accreditation Council this year, and she'll talk through some of those processes that have occurred at the Accreditation Council over the past couple of years and coming up in the future. Maureen Jones has a really kind of key and important role in here. She's going to talk about her role in the Standards Council and the thorough research. And I really want to say Maureen has gone over and above what I've ever seen happen with our Standards Council research to look at where our standards need to go and change into the future. Finally, we'll end with Todd Nelson, who'll look at transparency of program outcomes. And Todd is our immediate past chair of the board. We'll end up with some questions and conclusions from me. And what I would ask is if you have any questions, please put them in the chat room. We'll address them at the end. And we like to hold those questions to the very end. That way we make sure, they might be addressed as we go through in the presentation, but we will cover them at the end. So with that, let me introduce Banky to everyone who's on the call. And Banky, would you like to talk about credibility?
Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and particularly nice that the first thing I do as board chair is to talk to my peers and colleagues in the academic community. Healthcare management students are entering a rapidly changing workforce. We know that. We recognize and appreciate the very significant and innovative and even disruptive changes that have been implemented in the academic setting in response to these challenges that we're facing across the workforce setting. So today we'll look at how CAHME has changed, and frankly, how CAHME will continue to change. We'll have to continue to change and be agile in order to be responsive to the needs of the field. The board is committed to making the process of accreditation less burdensome, but also maintaining CAHME's rigorous criteria and standards as established by leading academics and practitioners. Just a reminder, the board is comprised of both academics and practitioners, and we all work together to achieve this goal. So the board is committed to you, and that CAHME will meet our mission, that is for advancing the quality of healthcare management education in the field. As a reminder of our mission, it's a goal of advancing the quality of healthcare management, and that is at the heart of everything we do, whether within our councils or within the board itself. It's a great focus on this, and we accomplish this mission by setting measurable criteria for excellent healthcare management education. We also support and assist and advise programs which seeks to meet or exceed the criteria and continuously improve. That's the whole goal. And we do this by accrediting graduate programs that meet or exceed the criteria, importantly by making this information easily available to interested constituencies. Our values are integrity, excellence, transparency, fairness, and recognition. And you'll see this and hear about this all through our discussion today, how this mission and these values permeate all our initiatives. Our mission continues to guide CAHME in ensuring that the next generation of healthcare leaders are well prepared for tomorrow's problems. CAHME is essential to this task, and I'm honored to serve as board chair this year. Currently, we accredit 150 programs in 98 universities. You can see that the most common degree program offering is the Master's in Healthcare Administration, followed by a Master's in Science and Healthcare Administration. Just a little bit over 30% of our programs are located in the School of Public Health, which is the largest group. And then the next largest group is followed by those located in allied health. Next slide. We continue to grow. All right. Although 150 accredited programs is impressive, what is truly impressive is that the pipeline of programs we have waiting to become CAHME accredited continues to grow. We have 13 in eligibility statement status right now, 11 completed applications, 14 have moved into candidacy, and 7 have been approved for self-study. Last year, we had a total of 23 site visits, so we are growing. Consistent with what CAHME does to other programs, CAHME also is accredited. So we are happy to announce how we have not sacrificed quality in any way as we have grown. Our goal is not to sacrifice quality as we grow, and so CAHME is recognized by Chair of the Council for Higher Education Administration. Chair is an international advocate of academic quality. We have more than 3,000 degree granting programs and universities that are a member of Chair, which recognizes 60 institutional and programmatic accrediting organizations. In January 2024, we went through our Chair recognition, which was announced, and for the first time ever, again, for the very first time ever, CAHME was recognized with no deficiencies. In our language, it will be no partially mets, no unmets. Everything was met. So great job. This is a testament to the staff who worked diligently over several years to get the CAHME infrastructure in order, and to our volunteers, you all who serve the committee and task forces that help to guide CAHME. We recognize the efforts of the Accreditation Council, the Standard Council, and especially our board members. So credibility actually goes hand in hand with reputation. We've touched a bit on how CAHME accreditation has become table stakes for healthcare management programs, but the credibility CAHME has also engendered relationships with other organizations. So it's my pleasure to hand this over to Ron, who's the practitioner CAHME board chair-elect. And Ron, give it to you to take it over.
Thanks, Banky. As my mother always said, you are the company you keep. So let's take a look at the organizations that choose to associate with CAHME and what this means. CAHME's corporate members are an important cornerstone of accreditation. They help to keep the cost of accreditation down. We appreciate all the support that the corporate members provide to CAHME and are especially thankful for these organizations, several of whom have been with CAHME since 1968. We have some great relationships outside of our corporate partners. These enable us to extend our influence worldwide. We extend our brand and our influence by our association with other accreditors, such as the Joint Commission, with the creation of a sustainability fellowship and assistance with our standards, with Middle States Commission on Higher Education. Look for some great announcements with them in the fall. AAB International, the aviator accreditor, a recent white paper yielded some great insights on quality and safety. AACSB, we've done 5 joint site visits with them already and even more are scheduled. NCHL, our white paper on fellowships was followed by a masterclass at their national members meeting. And on the global front, we worked with International Hospital Federation and the European Health Management Association on global competencies and efforts to broaden our global reach. CAHME has never been on more solid ground with high-quality global organizations. For the upcoming 10th Annual CAHME Awards, we are projecting to offer 6 student scholarships and 2 awards for accredited programs. Canon Solutions America and the George and Reggie Herslinger Foundation are longtime program sponsors. The CAHME Awards have raised more than $1.6 million to date. An upcoming feature in the journal at HFMA will focus on how innovation has been encouraged by the CAHME Awards. We can see that CAHME has not just benefited from historic relationships, but the board has sought and management has attained more relationships nationally and globally with foundations and corporations. Our programs have called CAHME table stakes, and the profession has recognized that CAHME matters. It wasn't that long ago that CAHME was known to only a select group of individuals. Today, CAHME is part of the national and business press discussions. Management has been guests on many podcasts, and its research is featured in academic research articles. The July issue of Modern Healthcare, for example, included a 3-page article featuring accredited programs. CAHME's white papers focus on areas of interest to healthcare management programs. In fiscal year 24, we released 5 white papers, 2 of which focused on CAHME and other accreditors, AACSB with joint site visits, and the aviation accreditor around safety. So how do graduates from CAHME accredited programs feel about CAHME accreditation? The one thing we're really proud about is that students, your students, rate CAHME accredited programs very highly. We use Net Promoter Score, or NPS, for a comparison to other industries. And the NPS from CAHME accredited program graduates is higher than that of education as a whole. CAHME programs are off the charts. This is you, the program directors, fulfilling an important need and doing it well. And the profession has responded and sees the value in graduates from CAHME accredited programs. Graduates from CAHME accredited programs make more money, $10,000 more, than graduates from non-CAHME programs. And make no mistake about it, student debt is a significant concern of all college graduates, making this difference in income potential an important one. The company we keep, the reputation we have built, helps students from CAHME accredited programs succeed. CAHME is not resting on our laurels regarding our achievements. We believe in the process of continuous improvement. Lynn Downs, the chair of our Accreditation Council, will now take us through how CAHME functions in a process of continuous improvement, not just for our programs, but also for ourselves. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and chat a few minutes with you. But first, let's start talking about the vision of CAHME. Our vision codifies the approach to continuous improvement. CAHME actively promotes continuous improvement. And here is our vision, and I'll let you read the rest, but it's not just about our program, it's for ourselves. You heard Anthony talk and start off with the reimagining of the accreditation process, which served to kick off many, many initiatives. So now we're going to kind of run through a few of these initiatives that the team has worked so hard on. One of the areas of note on the survey was around inter-rater reliability. And how is inter-rater reliability at CAHME? Well, what we can see is that there are high levels of consistency when site visitors are asked about variations within and among teams. We are at a great baseline, but now how do we move forward with more consistent responses to very consistent? We're not done. Education and training, reward and recognition, it's all hard work that the team is doing to make our site visitors well prepared and to make CAHME better. Continuous required education is a piece that we're adding to this process. We want to improve the consistencies of all our site visitors. So our initiatives in fiscal year 22 and 23 focused on the culture of the site visitors. We felt that before we can implement processes, ensuring that the culture is there will help us achieve success. So we have to start with culture, just like we teach our students. Some of these initiatives included recognizing the fellows through their commitment to CAHME, defining the roles and responsibilities of the site visit team to make sure we are all on the same page. We wanted to reinforce the culture of the site visit team, and thus we created videos that reinforce the team's roles as CAHME brand ambassadors, focusing on our mission. And we established a Fellow of the Year award that honors a fellow selected by CAHME's Master Fellows as best exemplifying the qualities of being a CAHME site visitor. Sharice Bridgewater from Baylor University was the first fellow named, and she was honored at the March CAHME Award ceremony. So if you see her, and I can't see all the many people on here, but we'll give her a round of applause to congratulate Sharice on this award. So once a culture baseline was established, we then moved to look at the tools and processes available to the site visitors. In fiscal year 24, we updated and introduced a new site visitor instruction guide, standardized our education models for consistency, and introduced the decision support tool. This decision support tool is a new collaboration tool that was created. It was discussed as part of the 2023 CAHME update for site visitors, which was released last fall, and we plan to review it again as part of the new 2024 site visitor training. It is a collaborative template with the program review within the program review worksheet. It includes additional fields where the team can insert notes by team members, as well as questions they may have for the program. This document is shared with each site visit team prior to the site visit for the team to use collaboratively together. So Michelle will create a SharePoint drive in the shared drive folder for each team, so the team can use this template simultaneously and watch each other's changes in the same document. I think not all teams have been using this, but the 2024 update, we want to stress that our new process, that all teams should be using this tool consistently so we can all be on the same document and working together. For 2025, we're looking to introduce monthly lunch and learns that will provide site visitors with overview for the various tools and guidelines used in site visitor process. And just by the way, the first lunch and learn is going to be on the 26th of July at noon Eastern Standard Time. So I'm already registered, so please register for that and get in and learn about what's going on. So we're also looking to introduce a findings library that will offer consistent language site visitors can use when the finding is a standard missed by multiple programs. For example, there might be a standard language that can be formed for programs who are missing the evidence showing how they use competency attainment data for process improvement, 3D2. So we want to ensure that all site visitors complete the onboard training as well as the annual educational updates that will provide refresher information on the process as well as highlight policy and/or guideline changes. I cannot stress enough how important annual site visitor education is for everyone in the process. We want to use these initiatives for continuous quality improvement, improving our inter-rater reliability, and clarifying for our site visitors what is exactly needed. But it's not all about the site visitor. Providing the tools and processes to the programs is the important flip side of the process, enabling the programs to know what is expected. So we created a site visitor readiness checklist and worksheet to ensure both the programs and the site visitors were using the same documentation in preparation for the site visit and in conducting the site visit. Based on listening to our constituents out there, many programs and site visitors have indicated that the syllabi cover sheets were cumbersome, and based on this feedback, CAHME has now made the cover sheet optional and introduced a syllabi checklist to be used by both programs and site visitors. Still want to use the cover sheet, go ahead and use them, but you definitely need to use this checklist to go through those syllabi. The APR and CPR sessions are learning sessions that are held between CAHME's management team and program directors. The APR, or Accredited Program Roundtable sessions, are for those who are in their self-study year, either initial or reaccreditation, and this is a time to go over any questions they have along the way. Those will be held with Eric and Amanda. The CPR, the Candidate Program Roundtable sessions, are for those who are in the process of applying for candidacy. And these sessions are meant to assist with any questions the program has in regard to the candidacy application and criteria they must complete. And these sessions are held with Tisha and Mike Meacham. A task force was established to determine the criteria and timing for virtual site visits. We learned that sometimes a virtual site visit just makes more sense than an on-site one. If a program is fully virtual, there are no students on campus, there's no faculty on campus, there is no campus, then it doesn't make sense to pull 3 or 4 people together to sit in a room and do a 2 to 3 day Zoom calls with each other in a room where we've paid for people to travel to. So we created a process where fully virtual programs do not require an on-site visit. We borrowed a concept from AACSB and created a POSSE visit, a preliminary on-site evaluation that will occur about 6 months prior to the site visit in person, and then the routine or regular site visit will occur. The process details are listed in the CAHME website under the program resources. And I'm going to step out here for a minute and say, if you have not gone to the CAHME website and looked up resources, you're missing out a lot, because any question you have is probably answered there. Like I tell my students, instead of saying go to the course syllabi, I'm saying please go to the CAHME website, look for your question, and then ask us. So we updated forms for programs who may have substantive change to help ensure there's no surprises when the team gets to the program and finds out that they are indeed reviewing 2 or 3 programs that are totally different. We'll continue to put the spotlight on this important process as we develop a standard process for all programs who have more than one delivery method. So I've gotten a sneak peek at the new substantive change module that's going to be on the website. So that is going to answer a lot of your questions. I really do promise that. So we've identified dedicated staff to focus on the candidacy process for new programs, as well as the substantive change process. And we'll be taking a more intense look at programs as they go into candidacy and go through their initial site visit, as well as those that have that substantive change questions. So one more important area I want to highlight. CAHME instituted an important functionality that ensures consistency of reporting from the annual report to the accreditation management portal. Dynamic figures integrates between these two. So the dynamic figures allows for that conglomeration or connection between the two, and it's currently now available. You just simply drag and drop the information into there, and this was demonstrated on the annual report presentation in late June. So CAHME continues to expand and excel in their processes, expand access to its data assets to the public and to the programs. This is able to help programs become better. So in 2018, we implemented an advanced search and a robust annual report tool. 2021, enhanced benchmarking tools were released. We introduced the CARB to enable programs to benchmark their programs against peer groups. In 2024, faculty compensation benchmarks became available. And we're looking for 2 new reports to come out in fiscal year 2025. The C faculty, which provides faculty profiles that leverage the disaggregated data gathered about faculty, and C trends, which provides trended report data for the purpose of helping programs through the environmental assessment. So as long as you provide the required data, you will get access to these reports. Transparency and excellence. They're not just buzzwords for CAHME, but ways for our programs to get better through data. Now, I'm glad I was first in front of Maureen, because I'm going to turn this over to Maureen to take us through our standards review.
Well, thanks everyone for attending. And before I get started, a shout out to the staff and leadership who consistently help us get better. And much of what you've heard so far really has been a request from the folks in the know to say we can improve what we do. And so thanks for all of that hard work that makes it better for everyone. The standards piece for us is big right now. We are in a self-study year. And as Anthony mentioned, we're doing things a little bit differently. As you grow and know better, we do better. And the folks that have come before us in doing standards review have done an amazing job and have really given us a wonderful foundation. This time we had the opportunity to include a lot of folks in this review. And so I just want to walk you through really how we've put together the self-study review process and then what you can expect in the future. And so what's happened to date is a couple of things for all of our stakeholders. One was a survey that was sent out to all the CAHME stakeholders to say, tell us what you think. We focused on those areas that Lynn mentioned where there's multiple programs who get a partially met to kind of see what we could do there. We offered the opportunity to give us additional insight on any criterion that you wanted to. And really helped us think about what our direction should be, including domains and innovation and a bunch of other topics. We weren't done there. We said we would continue a listening tour throughout the year. So we did that at the NCHL conference in the fall. We followed up at ACHE in the spring and ended with AUPHA in June. Each one of those sessions, I had a good partner in crime, Forrest Kim, joined me to help wrangle the conversation. And at AUPHA, we also, a few of us, went a little bit further and said we wanted to know more in-depth understanding of what does competency mean, what is a quality assessment of competency, and we were happy to participate in a session at AUPHA. All the insight we've gotten has been really helpful. Some of you who attended those sessions know that now after conversing, it's even harder sometimes to figure out what's the right way to go because there's so much to think about. That input from that listening session, the survey, and now work groups. In the fall, we put together work groups, one for each criterion, and they have been led by your colleagues. And criterion 1 was led by Carla Stebbins. Criterion 2 is being led by Allison Hall, and Criterion 3 is being led by none other than Lynn Downs. I owe her a lot of vacations for asking her to chair that. Criterion 4 is led by Dawn Ogen. And we wanted program directors from a variety of programs to run it, and then we wanted to fill those work groups with your colleagues from every kind of program. So those work groups are representative of traditional face-to-face programs with early careerists, executive programs, online programs, global conversation from our global task force, as well as quality and safety and population health. And so we certainly feel like we did a good job of including everyone's voice. In addition to those work groups, we're also going to have a set of readers that after we get the draft together, they'll also give us some outside perspective. Folks who've been around the industry a long time, in addition to some CAHME leadership that's going to help us make sure that we identify gaps or omissions that might have missed in going through the work groups. The work groups have done a really great job. We gave them no parameters other than how do we make sure that we have quality standards. And we went on a very research mentality here. There was a hypothesis that we definitely needed to improve, but what exactly needed to improve wasn't laid out for folks. And so although frustrating, like any good academic can be, that is a really good process because they've come up with some great insights. Now, everyone's voice has been heard. If you haven't had a chance to give your voice, give me an email. Happy to talk to anyone. But we're going to do our very best. I'm going to set the expectations for you to say that it will not be perfect. And the day after we publish them, someone will come along and tell me that we could have done better on something in criterion 3 is my guess. And so that's okay. We are always looking at improving. And just like when we look at programs, we know that nobody is, quote, perfect at the time that we're doing it, and that all we're looking for is improvement. And so that's really what we're working to do here. And so once the work groups are done, we are finishing our last work group now. And we'll pull together that draft. The chairs will get back together. We'll try and work through the consistency from one group to another. That will then be shared with that secondary set of eyes. It will eventually go to all the councils and the board to be approved. And then as we move into putting them out there, there'll be an opt-in, opt-out portion, and then eventually it will become standards that everyone will be required to do. And so what I can tell you now is that I think everyone's looking at the effort that it takes to do accreditation, to decrease fatigue whenever we can. The products we've asked them to deliver include a requirement to tell us what documentation or what evidence is necessary for every one of them, so that we can be as clear as we possibly can with programs on what it is they need to produce in order to get, quote, a fully met in our current standards. And so they're working hard. They're working for you. And when you see them, say hi and say thank you. Lord knows I couldn't do this without them. And we just look forward to advancing the quality portion of what we do. The transparency piece is clear here. We're making sure that everyone has a voice and is involved. We're trying to be adaptable and agile to the industry while not being so prescriptive that it makes an undue burden on programs to be accredited. And so we look forward to those opportunities as we move forward. All right. So next up is the one, the only, the guy with only one tie, Todd Nelson. Take it away.
Thank you, Maureen. So thank you for your service to CAHME and the industry. Thank you for everyone involved in that very detailed process of walking through standards and reimagining it, but also the listening tour. I know that's something that's been important to all of us members of CAHME staff and the board, is hearing from folks about where they're headed and what we can do better. And so that's really a lot of what we're talking about today. With that, I'd like to go into, to just reaffirm that CAHME's values of transparency and excellence are really best reflected in our advanced search tool. Back in 2013, CAHME board chair at the time, Kyle Grazier, who is also the chair of the University of Michigan's Department of Health Management and Policy, said that if the accreditation body could develop comparable measures for public use, that would be a great gift to the field, a real gift to the field. And the reality is, employers hiring new graduates, faculty candidates, and prospective students have no comparable measures of program quality. Well, we have them now. And I have to say, no one else really does. No one else in the healthcare management offers this quality of data free to the public. Annually, CAHME sees over 55,000 views. That's 55,000 to our website to look at these profiles. Indeed, it really is a gift to the field. When we think about the Core Learning Center, it really is there to minimize travel expenses, expands access to the content that the staff and the team have put together. It provides participants the ability to review materials based on their availability. So when they're there, they can go back. If it is 11 o'clock on a Saturday night and you don't know what to do, the Core Learning Center is there for you to, I don't want to say Netflix and chill, but maybe more like core learning and chill. The content includes CAHME accreditation education sessions, an enhanced benchmarking tool, expert practice areas, and a new module broken down by the accreditation phases to help target those resources and the sessions for programs based on where you are in the process, trying to meet a program where they are. We also have added some on-site masterclasses, which examine areas of interest beyond the basics and create networking opportunities with peers so that you can connect, ask questions of each other, and help each other through the process. And the success of that is really due to CAHME's dedication to inform programs as to how to succeed. We are continuing to invest in the Core Learning Center. In fact, in fiscal year 2025, it's going to see a major upgrade, implementing some sophisticated search capabilities across the CAHME resources. We're going to be thinking through a not scary form of robotic process automation. I know everybody's worried about AI, RPA, what's it going to do, machine learning. I don't know. That's why I have 20-year-old children. But what we're trying to do is improve the search tool where we can create a robust tool that eventually encompasses all of CAHME's videos, activities, and documents. And frankly, that's an exciting part because it makes it much easier to find the resources that you need based on keyword searches and past history. Last but not least, this is the slide where it all kind of flies in here. This is just amazing animation. I wish I could say that I did this. CAHME's master classes will be once again held right before the ACHE Congress in Houston, Texas. The event's going to focus on having programs be better prepared for their accreditation journey, help folks be better prepared to meet the standards, and we're expecting to be able to discuss the updates to the standards. So I'm looking at you, Maureen, so be ready. It's coming. We're also looking at the master's classes. Frankly, they've been very successful. We're extending the breadth of the education we provide based on attendee feedback. So when we send a survey, when we're there holding those classes, we want your feedback. That's how we get better and how we improve. The concept really is to create an integrated event that allows attendees to benefit from networking with faculty from programs dedicated to excellence, with additional substantive discussion. The A+ after the masterclass logo represents that we are going to revise the masterclass format this year and align it with the awards ceremony. More to come on this and other CAHME educational events. Stay tuned for details and mark your calendar. With that, the next area here is really, in response to programs searching for consulting help, CAHME has established a webpage to turn to. We created access to curated people who are interested in this. It is clear on this page that number one, CAHME does not require consultants. If you don't want it and you don't need it, you don't have to use it. All the consultants are independent contractors. CAHME does not employ these consultants, and there are no guarantees. Well, why are we doing this? Because you've asked for it. So again, you don't have to hire a consultant if you don't need it, but we're providing the resource so that it's there. If it's helpful to you, frankly, we've seen the board has seen programs hire consultants that are maybe not as versed within the standards. And so what we're trying to do is really provide qualified consultants that are out there. And we keep getting asked, management asks, who should we choose? Is there a consultant? Is there a list out there? And so what we've tried to do is create yet another resource for programs so that there's a one-stop shop for you to be able to go to and see who is out there and what their areas of expertise are. And last but not least, I want to kind of sum up what we heard today. The pictures here are telling. And as in any good presentation, we have to include Maureen like 6 times in the pictures. So I think she might be here once again. But let's look at this. In the top right top right, CAHME scholarship winners is in the right corner. CAHME Masterclass attendees. The bottom is our Accreditation Council. And center, picture from a site visit. Frankly, these are the pictures of what we are all about. It's meeting our mission of advancing the quality of healthcare management education. And Anthony, I believe I'm going to hand this back over to you to take a wrap up and answer any questions.
Well, Todd, thank you very much. As always, that was fun hearing your take on this, and I appreciate your comments and Ron and Banky, Maureen and Lynn for all the work that you do on this process. And we have a lot of people on this call today, and I really want to acknowledge the work, the people who roll up their sleeves, and get their hands dirty and make CAHME's processes better. So thank you all for your participation here. So you heard today some of the main themes around credibility, reputation, continuous improvement, accreditation standards, and transparency of program outcomes. 3 years seems like a long time since the Reimagining the Accreditation Process began and wrapped up its work in the summer of 2021. But it really isn't that long when you look at the amount of information and the amount of improvement that we made within our accreditation process. The part that's critical is that the board and management are focusing on solutions. We know that accreditation's hard, and we're doing things to cut down on accreditation fatigue, but we're also working to ensure our standards are not compromised. We hear you. We understand where your pain points are around accreditation, but we really do appreciate you being part of the journey, part of CAHME's performance improvement efforts. What I hope you all saw today was how we're working to find resolutions to help our accredited programs succeed and to meet our mission of advancing the quality of healthcare management education. So with that, let's look at the chat room, and if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. But right now on the chat, someone said, will the slides and recording be made available? And the answer is yes. The CAHME digest that will be coming out this Monday will include a link to the presentation. So look for it there. Is there an option for a best practice information site? Is the next question. Thank you, Celeste, for asking that question. And in terms of best practices, the Core Learning Center does that. All of the strengths, all of the programs that have met the standards, you can go and look at what they did to get their strengths and what they did to meet. And even with programs that failed standards, you can also see what they did in their progress reports to come up to back to meeting those standards, or, you know, if they were partially met. So the Core Learning Center is your best resource for best practices around accreditation process.
Anthony, I'm going to interject right there. As you said, the CLC has the most in-depth resources. So if you are a paid CLC subscriber, you have access to all the enhanced benchmarking, which details the narrative of the site visit report. So you can see what the programs are writing. I know sometimes report writing is difficult and hard when people are reviewing the site visit, self-study progress reports, self-studies, and candidacy application. So if you are having trouble with report writing, enhanced benchmarking is a really great tool for programs. We do have the CAHME Mentorship Circle series as well, which is on our website. They do have some best practices and expert perspectives within there that some of our CMC programs have done. So you can find some like ways to organize your LMS for site visits that they can easily obtain information and evidence documents. So those are some free resources that are on site on our website as well.
Thank you, Melissa. I don't see any other questions on the chat. So with that, we'll give everyone a couple minutes back on their day, but thank you very much for spending some time with us on this hot July morning. Take care, everyone.